I have low blood sugar. And my childhood friend always keeps chocolate in his backpack for me. But after I ran the 800-meter race and ate his chocolate, a new transfer student started crying and fronted me. Why did you steal the birthday gift that Ryan gave me? That was my only present. Ryan panicked and comforted her, promising to get her an even better gift. I stood there confused, my mouth full of bitterness. Suddenly, whispers from all around the classroom hit me. No way. How could Emma be like this? Telling someone's birthday gift. Well, that's her childhood friend. She's probably jealous seeing him with a new friend. So shameless. Does she think being on the track team makes her special? Lindsay looks so pitiful crying. I'm going to give her all my allowance to buy gifts. I stood there frozen, wanting to explain. But my throat felt blocked. I could speak. I wanted to say I didn't know it was Lindsay's birthday. And I wasn't stealing her gift. Ryan told me that whenever my blood sugar dropped, there would always be chocolate in his bag for me. So after running the 800 meters, feeling dizzy and weak, I took the chocolate from Ryan's bag. I had no idea that specially wrapped chocolate was a gift Ryan planned to give Lindsay. Ryan rushed back from the principal's office. When he heard what happened, seeing him, my eyes immediately welled up with tears, thinking he came to explain for me. But I was wrong. Ryan didn't even look at me. He ran to Lindsay's side, bending down to comfort her anxiously. Don't cry, Lindsay. I'll get you an even better gift. Looking at Lindsay's pale face covered in tears, Ryan finally remembered me and turned to look at me with blame. Emma apologized to Lindsay. That was the gift I prepared for her. The classroom exploded. Oh, my God, this proves it. Emma really took someone's birthday gift. Taking without asking is stealing, right? Countless judgmental looks fell on me. Even though the sun was blazing outside, I was shivering with cold. Embarrassment and shame almost drowned me. Finally, I took a deep breath. I held back my tears. I bowed to Lindsay and apologized. Before the bell rang for class, Ryan led Lindsay back to their seats. That's when I noticed my seat had been changed. Originally, I was Ryan's desk mate. Now it was Lindsay. I looked around, confused for my desk. Ryan suddenly spoke up. Your seat is over there. I followed where he pointed. I found it in the corner by the back door, alone with no desk mate. My books were messily scattered on the surface. You were away training for so long. Lindsay couldn't see from the back, so she switched seat with you. You're barely in class anyway. Hearing Ryan's indifferent voice, I walked to the last row in a daze. Behind me, Lindsay asked softly through her tears, will she be angry about this? Maybe I should give her seat back. It's fine. She made you cry. Consider this her apology. Ryan, you're so kind. Her voice was sweet and soft. It made people want to protect. I suddenly understood why Ryan had such gentle expressions. Who could say anything harsh to such a voice? I kept my head down, finally, unable to hold back my tears. My heart felt incredibly bitter. How did this happen? I was only away training for 2 weeks. Ryan wasn't like this before. When someone tried to sit in my seat while I was gone, you would say, get away. What if you mess up Emma's stuff? Don't worry about training, little Emma. As long as I'm here, no one will touch your things. When did it all change? Oh, it seemed to be since Lindsay transferred here this semester. She was pretty and got good grades. She always looked at us with a gentle smile. I really envy your friendship. I think Ryan saw her differently. He'd always treated me like a tomboy, a buddy he needed to protect. But Lindsay made him feel like a man, someone who could be needed in a different way. After that, Ryan started inviting her to lunch with us. Back then, I naively thought we just made a new friend. So I ignored how Ryan's messages became and fewer. During training, I ignored his unconscious comments. Can't you learn from Lindsay? You don't act like a girl at all. The homeroom teacher walked in. A stranger followed behind her. He was very handsome but cold, like everyone owed him money. The teacher cleared her throat and introduced. This is Nathan Joe. He's an art student and he'll be your new classmate. After speaking, The teacher scanned the room and looked at the empty seat next to me. Nathan, you can sit next to Emma. Since you're an art student and she's a student athlete, you two have similar schedules and can look out for each other. Hearing the teacher call my name, I quickly stopped crying. I was still holding the half-eaten chocolate, my hand covered in melted chocolate. In my shock and embarrassment, I'd forgotten to wash it. I just kept clutching it like my life depended on it. I wiped my face with my hands, but I forgot my hands were still covered in melted chocolate. Instantly, I looked ridiculous. Everyone turned to look at me and burst into loud laughter. Ryan didn't laugh, but there was a hint of disgust in his eyes. I kept my head down, my face burning red. Suddenly, a backpack and a pack of tissues landed next to me. I looked up to see Nathan sitting beside me. He glanced at me and raised an eyebrow. If you don't wipe it now, it'll dry. I frantically grabbed tissues to clean my face. I whispered thank you to him. The teacher went to the office. The usually talkative students started whispering again. Another student athlete and art student in our advanced class. How did they get in? Exactly. They'll struggle to keep up. Emma would have it long ago if Ryan wasn't helping her. Now Lindsay is Ryan's desk mate. Let's see what those two losers do now. Their voices were just loud enough for Nathan and me to hear. I gripped my pen, my knuckles turning white. I desperately tried to suppress the bitterness in my heart, but I still felt like crying from the hurt. Nathan acted like he didn't hear anything. He casually picked up a pen and started drawing in his notebook. Didn't he feel embarrassed? I leaned over to see what he was drawing. As I watched, I forgot about crying. It was so beautiful. Even though I had tutoring sessions every evening during training, I still fell behind on a lot of material. During class, I only understood bits and pieces. I stared at the math problems in my workbook, getting anxious even after the bell rang. I tried several different methods, but none gave the right answer. Ryan appeared beside me at some point, knocked on my head, sounding frustrated. Stuck again. Try using the Cauchy inequality. You never ask for help. Just sit here thinking. You could think until tomorrow morning and still not figure it out. Whenever I couldn't solve problems before, Ryan would knock my head like this. He said it would help me remember. The suppressed hurt rushed back up. My nose stung and tears fell. Ryan paused for a second, his voice softening. Why are you crying? I'll still help you. He pulled up a chair, ready to sit down and teach me. Lindsay suddenly turned around excitedly, smiling brightly. Ryan, I found 2 different ways to solve this problem. Can you check if my approach is right? He seemed dazzled by her smile. He immediately stood up and quickly said to me, try solving it yourself first. Come back to teach you later. Then he turned and went back to Lindsay's side. I suddenly found her smile so glaring, like it was full of smutness and showing off. I held my breath, determined to solve this problem. But I got stuck at the last step. Nathan had stopped drawing at some point. Pointing at my scratch paper, he suddenly spoke. Using the Cauchy inequality for this problem makes the calculation very complex and error-prone. This formula is simpler. He quickly wrote down a series of formulas on the paper. I was stunned for a moment. Then everything clicked. I quickly picked up my pen and solved it again. I got it in one go. When I finished, I was so excited, I turned to thank him. I saw he was drawing again. Oh, my desk mate turned out to be a hidden genius. He didn't even look up from his drawing. You're welcome. His voice was flat, almost cold. But somehow I felt a warmth spread through my chest. For the first time since Lindsay arrived, someone had helped me without making me feel small. The next few weeks passed in a blur. Nathan and I developed a silent routine. He would glance at my work occasionally, point out mistakes or suggest better methods. He never lectured me like Ryan used to. He never made me feel stupid. He just helped. One day during lunch break, I sat alone in the classroom as usual. Nathan was sketching at his desk. I watched him from the corner of my eye. His hand moved with such precision, each line deliberate and purposeful. It was mesmerizing. Why do you always draw? I asked quietly. He paused but didn't look up. It helps me think. What do you think about? Everything. Nothing. People mostly. People? I looked at him confused. Like who? He finally turned to face me. His eyes were dark and intense. Like you. My heart skipped a beat. Me? Why would you draw me? I'm not special. I'm just a girl who can't even keep her friends. Nathan studied me for a long moment. Then he turned his notebook around. I gasped. It was a drawing of me, but not the me I saw in the mirror every day. This Emma was strong. Her chin was lifted, her eyes determined. There was a fire in her gaze that I'd never seen before. This isn't me, I whispered. This is who you could be. He said softly. If you stopped letting others define you. I stared at the drawing, tears welling in my eyes. How did you see this? I didn't even know it existed. Nathan closed his notebook. Because I look. Really look. Not like them. He gestured toward the front of the room where Ryan and Lindsay sat. They see what they want to see. What makes them comfortable. I see what's actually there. That afternoon, the track coach called me into his office. Emma, there's a regional competition next month. I want you to compete. I nodded, excitement bubbling in my chest. But then I hesitated. Coach, I don't know if I can. My training has been interrupted lately. He frowned. What do you mean? I bit my lip. Nothing. Never mind. I'll be ready. That evening, I stayed late in the classroom to study. Nathan was still there too, working on an art project. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the desks. It was peaceful. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel like I was drowning. Hey, Nathan? Can you help me with something? He looked up. What? I took a deep breath. I need to tell Ryan something, but I don't know how. Nathan set down his brush. What do you need to tell him? That I forgive him. Nathan raised an eyebrow. You forgive him? After everything? Yes, because holding on to this anger is hurting me more than him. But I don't want to make things awkward. Nathan thought for a moment. Then why tell him? What? Why tell him at all? If you've forgiven him, that's for you. You don't need his acknowledgement. His eyes held mine. Real forgiveness doesn't require an audience. I sat there stunned. He was right. I'd been so focused on making Ryan understand, on making him see how much he'd hurt me, that I hadn't actually let go. I was still waiting for something from him. An apology. Understanding. Something. But Nathan was saying I didn't need any of that. I could just move on. The next day, I walked into the classroom with my head held high. For the first time in weeks. I didn't look at Ryan and Lindsay's seats. I didn't wait for Ryan to notice me. I just sat down and opened my book. Nathan glanced at me. You look different today. I smiled. I feel different. During math class, the teacher announced a surprise test. My stomach dropped. I hadn't prepared. But then I remembered Nathan's words. I didn't need to be perfect. I just needed to do my best. I worked through the problems, using the methods Nathan had taught me. When I got stuck, I took a deep breath and thought. Really thought. And somehow, the answers came. When the tests were returned 2 days later, I stared at the paper in disbelief. I'd gotten a B. Not an A, but a solid, respectable B. Better than I'd done in months. Ryan walked by my desk. He glanced at my test, then did a double take. You actually passed? His voice was tinged with surprise. I looked up at him. Yes, I did. Who helped you? No one. I studied. He frowned. But you're not. I'm not what? Smart enough? His eyes widened. I didn't mean. I know what you meant. I turned back to my paper. But for the record, I've always been smart enough. I just needed someone to believe in me. Ryan stood there for a moment, looking conflicted. Then he walked away without saying anything else. That afternoon at track practice, I ran faster than I ever had before. My legs burned. My lungs screamed. But I didn't stop. I kept pushing. Because for the first time in a long time, I believed in myself. The regional competition arrived. I stood at the starting line, my heart pounding. The stadium was filled with people. I scanned the crowd and found Nathan. He was sitting in the stands, sketchbook in hand. He caught my eye and gave me a small nod. That was all I needed. The gun went off. I ran. Everything else faded away. The pain in my legs, the doubts in my mind, the hurt from the past. All of it disappeared. There was only the track, the finish line, and me. I crossed the finish line first. The crowd erupted in cheers. I collapsed to my knees, gasping for air. But I was smiling. I'd done it. I'd actually done it. Nathan met me at the edge of the track. He handed me a bottle of water. Congratulations. I took it gratefully. Thank you. For everything. He shrugged. You did the work. I just pointed the way. That evening, there was a celebration at school. The principal announced my victory over the intercom. Everyone congratulated me. Even some of the students who had whispered about me before. I accepted their praise with grace. But my heart wasn't in it. I found Nathan standing by the window, looking out at the sunset. Can I talk to you? He turned. Of course. I took a deep breath. I want to show you something. I pulled a folded paper from my bag. It was the drawing he'd made of me. The strong, determined version of myself. I've been thinking about what you said. About who I could be. I looked him in the eye. I think I'm starting to become her. Nathan studied me for a long moment. Then a small smile touched his lips. I know. I can see it too. The next week, Lindsay approached me after class. Emma, can we talk? I hesitated, then nodded. We walked to a quiet corner of the hallway. I'm sorry, she said quietly. For what? For everything. For making you feel like you had to apologize. For taking your seat. For being the reason Ryan changed. She looked down at her hands. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. I looked at her. Really looked at her. She wasn't the villain I'd made her out to be. She was just a girl who wanted to belong. Just like me. Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that. Her eyes widened in surprise. You're not going to yell at me? No. Life's too short for holding grudges. I smiled. Besides, I have better things to focus on now. Like what? Like becoming the person Nathan drew. Lindsay looked confused. Nathan? My desk mate. He's an artist. He showed me a drawing once. Of who I could be. I'm working on becoming her. Lindsay studied me. I think you're already there. What? I see it too. The strength. The determination. You're not the same girl who cried over a chocolate bar. I blinked back tears. Thank you, Lindsay. She smiled. We should probably get back to class. Ryan's waiting for me. I nodded. Go ahead. I'll be there in a minute. When I walked back into the classroom, Ryan was at Lindsay's desk. They were laughing together. For the first time. It didn't hurt. I didn't feel jealous. I didn't feel betrayed. I just felt free. I sat down next to Nathan. He glanced at me. You look different again. I smiled. I feel different again. Good different or bad different? Good. Definitely good. He returned to his drawing. I watched his hand move across the paper. Nathan? Why do you help me? He paused. Because you remind me of someone. Who? Myself. I looked at him, surprised. What do you mean? He sighed. A few years ago, I let people define me too. I believed everything they said about me. That I wasn't smart enough. Not talented enough. Not good enough. He turned to face me. It took me a long time to realize they were wrong. I don't want you to waste as much time as I did. My heart swelled with gratitude. Thank you, Nathan. For seeing me. For believing in me. He shrugged. Someone had to. The months passed. I trained harder than ever. I studied with Nathan's help. I grew stronger. Faster. Smarter. More importantly, I grew into myself. Ryan and Lindsay stayed together. They seemed happy. And I was happy for them. Genuinely happy. Because I'd found my own happiness. At the end of the school year, there was an art exhibition. Nathan had several pieces displayed. I walked through the gallery, admiring his work. Each piece was more beautiful than the last. Then I found it. A large canvas in the center of the room. It was a girl running. Her face was turned toward the finish line, determination in every line of her body. But it wasn't just any girl. It was me. The plaque beneath it read, "Phoenix Rising." The artist's statement. We all have moments that break us. But it's not the breaking that defines us. It's the rising. This piece is for someone who taught me that even the deepest wounds can heal. And that the strongest people are the ones who keep going, even when they have every reason to stop. I read the words through tears. Nathan appeared beside me. Do you like it? I turned to him. I love it. But you didn't have to. Yes, I did. He took my hand. Because you're the reason I started drawing again. After years of giving up. I stared at him. What? He nodded. I stopped drawing a few years ago. Because I believed the lies people told me. But then I met you. And I saw you fighting. Even when everyone was against you. Even when you wanted to give up. You kept fighting. He squeezed my hand. You inspired me, Emma. More than you'll ever know. I looked back at the painting. The girl in the picture was me. But she was also Nathan. She was anyone who had ever been broken. And found the strength to rise again. That night, I stood in front of a mirror. Really looked at myself. For the first time in my life. I didn't see a girl who needed to be fixed. I didn't see someone who wasn't good enough. I saw someone who had survived. Who had grown. Who had become exactly who she was meant to be. I smiled at my reflection. The girl in Nathan's drawing. The girl who ran across the finish line. The girl who forgave. The girl who rose. Me. The next day, I found a small box on my desk. Inside was a chocolate bar. Not just any chocolate bar. It was wrapped in familiar paper. The same kind Ryan used to use. There was a note. I'm sorry I stopped being the friend you needed. I hope you can forgive me someday. Ryan. I read the note once. Then I folded it and put it in my pocket. I didn't need to respond. I didn't need to confront him. Because I'd already forgiven him. Not for him. For me. I walked to Nathan's desk. He was sketching as usual. I sat down and placed the chocolate on his desk. Want to share? He looked at the chocolate. Then at me. A smile spread across his face. Only if you promise not to cry on it this time. I laughed. I promise. We shared the chocolate in the back of the classroom. While the teacher droned on about calculus. It wasn't the same as before. It was better. Because this time, I wasn't eating chocolate to fix my low blood sugar. I was eating it to celebrate something much sweeter. My freedom. My strength. Myself. And the boy who had helped me find all three. The end.